My favorite artist is Keith Haring. I started watching Sesame Street since birth. I realized that all of his images are throughout the show, and when I started taking art classes, I became really attracted to his work, and I think it has to do with me being raised with his artwork, and I was comfortable seeing it. Starting around kindergarten, I started asking my parents for their garbage, like cardboard boxes, shoe boxes, anything they were getting rid of that wasn't too disgusting, pretty much, to make crafts out of and upcycle. And I would create these games, shoes, and clothes out of all these recycled materials that they gave me. And my mom would set aside paper towel tubes a lot for me. I remember seeing them all beside the sink. I'm really into upcycling. I just got rid of all of my t-shirts from high school by cutting them up and attaching them to a giant blanket. And I'm always looking to reuse old things. If it gets too ragged to wear, I'll use it for material for another project, such as a stuffed animal or perhaps even a hat. I was a really big hoarder growing up, and it was only until very recent that I became the complete opposite, where I didn't want to be surrounded by material objects, but I used to hold on to every little piece of anything that I could get my hands onto. I would pick up things off the streets and keep collecting things. Of course, my mom wasn't too happy about that, and I still do it. My parents were pretty supportive with my crafting from recycled materials. They just made sure that they didn't give me anything too dangerous or too disgusting. They cleaned out the milk cartons before they gave them to me so they wouldn't go rotten. They're still supportive of me with my artwork and my graphic design. So I'm actually wearing the first skirt that I ever bought in 8th grade, and it's been worn and torn to bits. And there's like so many rips in it. And what determines if I can wear it anymore is if the material is still existing, because I'll just keep patching it up. So this thing isn't going anywhere for a while. I always crochet. I love it so much. It's a big part of me. I actually have a ball of yarn tattooed on my ankle. I'm the president of the Crochet and Knit Club on campus, and it's brought me together with so many different people and have gotten so many great opportunities from crocheting. So I learned how to crochet when I was in 4th grade. I started crocheting through most of my childhood and stopped for a little while. Then in 10th grade, I sat down, tried to make a hat without a pattern, and I figured it out and realized it was super easy, and I got it like it was nothing. So from there, I started creating more and more hats. At the time, my friend had a pocketbook catalog, and I thought it was really professional looking. So I made myself a hat catalog and started wearing my hats that I made. People started getting interested. They can just tell me whatever they wanted to have on their head, and I would make it for them. And then I left for college. I moved my stuff onto Flickr, which gave people the availability to see my hats online instead of coming to me. I'm starting my own website. I just learned HTML, so I made myself business cards, and those have done really well. Last year I sold my hats in a store on Main Street in New Paltz. They bought 10 to 15 hats, and to sell my hats in a consignment store in my hometown. I usually sell at least at 2 or 3 craft fairs a year, 2 of them being at SUNY New Paltz. And I've been getting into upcycling of crocheting, where you take plastic bags, cut them up into something that's called plarn, and then you crochet with the plastic bags into other crafts, and you can reuse them. My club sells crafts at the Sustainable Recycling Fair, and plarn is a big thing that we do there. I also melt records and mold them into bowls, and I take spoons and bend them into bracelets and paint on them, and those usually go over really well. I started taking figure drawing classes when I entered college. I would just look at the interaction between the model and the teacher and how friendly and relaxed it was. And I had remembered my uncle who went to New Paltz back in the 70s joking around, being like, oh, you can nude model on campus as well, because he used to have a campus job. But from taking the figure drawing classes, that thought just popped into my head, like, oh, that'd be a good way to save some money for school, and it seems like it would be really interesting to do. And I was just like, why not give it a try? If I don't like it, I could just stop. The next semester, I was really, really nervous, but I walked into the classroom and it was actually a non-art major class, which makes it more difficult because people regard nude models differently if they haven't been drawing them for a while. It was a bit of a shocker for them, it was a bit of a shocker for me, but we were both in the same boat, and I think that made it even better. And they kept telling me how much of a good model I was, and the teacher was really supportive, and he actually asked me to be his personal model, and I got a bit startled by that offer, so I declined at that point. Then I started modeling for the teacher that I had in my figure drawing classes, and she loves me and keeps asking for me back. I've been modeling for about 2 years. I've given modeling a lot of thought, and there's a lot of, I don't want to call it controversy, but it kind of weirds people out sometimes because it's like, oh, nudity, blah, 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 sex. But really, when you're there, you lose some humanity and you turn more into an object for studying, an object for art. You are simply to look at the curves and you're not like, oh, that's Kristen. No, that's what I'm studying.